When my manager sets reasonable deadlines, but my boss regularly overrides them with last-minute urgent requests, how do I protect myself from burnout without appearing uncooperative?
I'm feeling stressed even thinking about that. Yeah, I mean, it would be super stressful, particularly if you're trying to be, helpful and cooperative. No one wants to be a unhelpful team member, particularly when you're given the task to do. And it's clear that this isn't a personal time management issue in any capacity. It sounds more like it's about competing priorities. And I guess unclear escalation, particularly when things are being pushed in front of you. So I guess reframing or having that conversation around that you can do this, but what you'll need to move or change due to that, and maybe sort of raise what it is you're currently working on that you've been instructed to by your manager, or I think it's perfectly fine for you to sit down with your manager and say, hey, like, really loving the work, really loving, the tasks. I want to be a team member and want to be helpful and all these sorts of things. One thing that I can see that's impacting my output or maybe the competing priorities is if I could have more clear understanding on when this happens, what's the expectation? What would you like from me? Do you want me to voice back to my manager that I've got a task from my boss, so I'm going to prioritize that? Is that just the communication? I think the last thing you should be doing is sitting with it yourself and just accepting it and sort of burning the candle at both ends to get the work done because you want to be so helpful and you don't want to, ruffle any feathers. And I don't think it's a matter of ruffling feathers, but more just communication and drawing boundaries in a way that is helpful and constructive, but in a way that is really goal orientated, right? Because you want to get the work done for the team. You just want to make sure you're getting what needs to be done first. And you're not responsible for your manager and your boss's miscommunication, but you can absolutely raise it with them that this sort of pipeline could be a little bit more effective. So I think it's probably getting some clarity if you can. If you can't get that clarity, then just really practice your capacity. Practice and protect your capacity with your boundaries and systems. So, confirm the change deadlines in writing, keep track of last minute requests, speak to your manager and about shared processes for urgent work. So just document things, I suppose, if a conversation doesn't get you the answers or the support that you're looking for, in case it becomes something that you might need to address down the road a little bit further too.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I think sometimes when you get into that realm of suggesting or document it, it gets very formal very quickly, right? But actually in this case, what you're doing is documenting stuff to be able to just have a very good conversation. Because I think sometimes when you try and have those, like if a manager is trying to have those conversations with an employee who's experiencing that, you kind of want to know, well, can you give me some examples so we can understand that? And sometimes, when you're in the middle of the conversation, they don't come to the top very easily or quickly. So I think that's still it's still very valid in this case. Does this happen? I mean, it always happens in every business, right? Like, the boss suddenly comes in and goes, can you just help me with this?
I'm probably that guy.
Yeah, well, I know I've been that guy, and I'm sure
I definitely have been that guy.
You have been that guy. How do you manage it, or do you go, I worked bloody hard to get to this point?
I mean, I'm normally the perpetrator of swooping in and doing this, but I guess the one thing that I appreciate is when people push back on me or they give me a way to the solution that I want. And because you have agency in, you are the master of what you do in the business, and I think I always appreciate it when they're like, hey, okay, well, I need to do this first, but maybe I can achieve what you're wanting by doing X, Y, and Z with this solution work for you. I don't love it when it's just like, no, I can't do that, or it's like, or I've already overworked or something like that. It should be a discussion around what is the solution, not about I'm too busy.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I think that idea of recognizing that you have agency and that you can work together on a solution versus just making it another problem is a good way of looking at it.